After you go through narcissistic abuse and you think about everything that the narcissist did to you, it takes a while for you to unravel everything, to demystify the whole narrative that you've just experienced. And a part of the reason it takes so long to do that is because you try to understand what happened within that relationship from your own perspective. But what you want to do is you want to understand it from the vantage point of the narcissist. And that understanding helps you to see just how unhealthy their mindset is. So, for example, when you are in the love bomb stage of the relationship, the narcissist is showering you with attention, affection, they're mirroring you. It feels really intense. They might be a whole lot more physically attracted to you and intimate with you. And, they might be sending you a whole lot of text messages, just really bombarding you with their attention and affection and paying really close attention to your likes and dislikes and even anticipating your needs. And so from your vantage point, it looks like love. But from their perspective, it looks like love too, and it feels like love. And they believe that they love you because they are delusional. But what's also happening is they are creating a narrative. They've created this love story, this fantasy. And they see themselves as the central character in this fantasy. They see you as their supporting actor, and that you're going to build them up. You're going to be their hero. You're going to rescue them from themselves, from all the things that they've been through, from their shame, from their pain, from anything that they don't want to face. And so you're not so much someone they're in a relationship with, but you're more of a solution to a problem. You are supply. In fact, you're not even supply, you're the supplier, because you have something that they want. It could be a house, it could be a car, it could be attention, it could be their good looks, your good looks. It's something that you provide to them that you may or may not even be aware of, that is feeding their ego, that is building up and sustaining their delusional fantasy world. It's a world that they can escape to that protects them from reality, from the reality of who they actually are. And eventually the relationship gets to a point where reality starts to creep in. You start to sort of get demystified, and you start to see that this person is not who they represented themselves to be. You start to see behind the mask, and you see the cracks in their mask, and you start to question them. You start to hold them accountable. You start to let them know what your needs are, and you try to get your needs met. And when that happens, the narcissist goes into the devaluation stage of their cycle. And they always follow that same cycle: idealization, devaluation, discard, and sometimes a hoover. And a lot of people wonder, how is it that the idealization and devaluation, going back and forth between those two stages, can last for so long? How is it that narcissists, with all their instability, can maintain relationships for years and even decades? And the answer to that question, at least in my experience, is as long as the supply is sufficient, then normally the narcissist will be able to stay in a relationship with you as long as they perceive that the supply is sufficient. Now, they may be getting supply from you, they may be getting supply from other people, but everybody in the narcissist's life is like a mirror. And whatever image you reflect back to them, that's what they'll see. They totally identify with the looking glass self. And the looking glass self is the self that they perceive you see whenever you look at them. So whatever image of them you have in your mind, that's what they see and that's what they take on. So if you no longer believe the lie and you see through the mask and you see that this person has some deficits and some problems that they need to work out, then the image that they see becomes unbearable to them. And when that happens, you think that this is someone who's attacking you and hurting you, which they are. But from their point of view, they're just defending the fragile narrative that they have of who they are in their life. And they don't want to put themselves on trial. They don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to examine themselves. They don't want to repent, and they don't want to be contrite. What they want is a license to treat you as atrociously as they want to whenever you break character, because you see they've relegated you to a role that they want you to play in order to sustain their delusional fantasy. And when you break character and you step out of that role, they want a license to be able to do whatever is necessary to get you back under control. And if you're unwilling to acquiesce to that role that they have relegated you to, then that's when you get the discard. And a lot of times what you'll see with that discard is that it could be an attempt for the narcissist to regain control over you. It also could be a final discard. But either way, the way that they think, the way that their mind operates, since they never saw you really as a person and they didn't really see you at all, their objective is always control. That's why when they go up to the stranger on the street and they perform and they treat this person better oftentimes than they treat you, it's because they don't really see that person. They see an opportunity for supply. They see everybody they interact with as a supplier. So if you're a potential supplier, they don't necessarily want to let you go for good. That's why they say, well, let's stay friends and maybe we could get together some other time in the future, is because they desperately still want to be able to take advantage of your supply once you get back into the role that they relegated you to, once you remember your place. And your place is always, from their vantage point, to be someone who supports them and sustains their delusional reality.